I wanted to share a story with you about my motorcycle and how I came to acquire it. About 5 years ago, I really wanted a motorcycle, and all of my friends had a motorcycle, so I made a decision to buy one. I ended up going with a Honda motorcycle with a 350cc engine and bought it and thought I was ready to go on a trip. Most motorcycles come with windshield protectors, goggles, backrest, things like that. I kind of looked past it and didn't think I needed those things, and I thought I'd pack the rest of my stuff up and hit the road and head to Florida. So, right before leaving, I looked up a few things I would need for the care of my bike, and so I packed some oil and some lube for the rotors. Got on my bike and drove through North Carolina. I was driving through the windy roads of Skyline Drive and Blue Ridge Parkway. When I started my journey, it was a beautiful day and there were trees and a river, and I was driving my bike through these windy roads through mountains and hills, and the wind was going through my hair, and it was such a wonderful, thrilling experience. At this point, I had done about 600 miles on my motorcycle, and I began to hit switchback roads, which, as a unskilled motorcyclist, would scare many, but I enjoyed this experience immensely. As I entered Georgia, I was still riding on my bike, but in Georgia there were tons of bugs that were hitting my face and going in my nose and my eyes, and it was really uncomfortable. And I wish at that point I had had some sort of windshield or visor on my goggles that would protect me from all these bugs. But I kept on going, driving through Georgia, and I drove all through the day, all through the night. I saw the moon go up and over, and all through the day the next day. So as I approached Florida, the sun was beating down on me and the heat was sweltering. So I changed into a short sleeve shirt and some shorts, and I continued on my trip to Florida. And then I saw I was approaching Daytona Beach, and I got very excited. And Daytona Beach is a famous car beach on sand. So I took my motorcycle on the sand and I drove it around, and I was really, really excited going back and forth on this sandy beach, and didn't get too close to the water. And I was, all by myself, so I had as much fun as I could alone before heading on to the highway going straight towards Miami. So I kept driving on the highway, and after 2 days, I didn't think about how tired I was or how exhausted I was. I just kept persevering and driving until I hit tons of traffic. And at that moment, I began to feel pretty groggy. And there were lots of trucks and cars on the highway, and the fumes from the exhaust pipes were making me feel unclear in my mind and a little stressed out. But after much, no, but eventually I arrived in Miami. The trip at that time had been 1,200 miles. I had left Washington, D.C., and drove for many hours before arriving to Miami. So, upon arriving to my friend's house in Miami, I hobbled off my bike, and my back was sore and aching, and my legs hurt, and my head was tired. So, I went into my friend's house and got into bed immediately, and I blacked out. And when I woke up, I had hobbled out of my room, and my friend had told me that I had been asleep for 2 whole days. I had slept through the day and the night for 2 days. I woke up and I was still a little achy. My back hurt and my neck was cranked from leaning forward. My wrists hurt. But this all taught me a very valuable lesson. There are 3 things that you need before a very long road trip to Florida. 1, a visor or shield on your motorcycle. 2, goggles to protect your eyes from the sun. And 3, a very sturdy backrest to help your back on these long, long journeys if you're going to take a road trip. I look back on this experience and I remember these things and will always remember these things before taking a long road trip anywhere.